This video contains themes of child abuse. Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewers' discretion is advised. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Omodele Salu, and if you're here, that means you're invested in true crime content as much as I am. So welcome, take a seat. I am going to be posting a lot of contents like this. So if this is something that you like, please like, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on so you can get notified when I post a new video. Now that all that is out of the way, let's get right into today's case. So today's case is about the big bad wolf. Yes, I know how that sounds. The big bad wolf was born Juan Carlos Sánchez Latorre, aka Juan Pablo, aka Danilo Santiago Luna, aka El Lobo Feroz. But for the purpose of this video, we're just going to be referring to him as Latorre. Latorre was born in Espinal, Tolima in Colombia on the 13th of September 1980, and he is believed to have assaulted over 500 minors. Not much is known about Latorre's life before he started committing crimes, and not much is known about his family too. I know that this does not change anything, but it might have explained a little bit why he is so messed up, I guess. But what we do know about Latorre though is that he was a systems technologist working for a computer company in Colombia. Latorre's criminal activities was first made known to the authorities in March of 2008 when he was arrested for sexual acts with a minor below 14 years of age. The authorities were able to link him to many other sexual crimes against minors. More than 50 cases of rape had been reported in the capital city of Atlantico and neighboring towns, and 6 victims were able to identify Latorre as the perpetrator. Weirdly enough, and this just infuriates me, Latorre was released by a judge despite the horrible crimes he committed because of some technicalities. This release was really just stupid, and it only gets worse from here. Latorre would go on to commit many more crimes and even start making a living from this. Bruh. The crazy nonchalant attitude of the judicial system caused so many children to lose their childhood to the monster that Latorre is. And it's so heartbreaking. I mean, what would they have taken for them to put in just a tiny bit more effort? What? Latorre was committing all these sexual crimes, but the Colombian authorities did not trace it back to him because, hey look, he has a track record, but maybe he might not be the one. They kept on treating these new cases as independent cases, and so these cases were left unsolved. It was an accidental discovery in an unrelated case in Mexico that would then lead the connection back to Latorre. Mexican authorities raided pedophile networks operating in Mexico City, and they arrested Hector Faria, also known as Anthony, in an internet cafe. When Faria's email communication was looked at, authorities found hundreds of very disgusting, disturbing images and videos of children. They also found other child porn content from the email account sadis13@xsx.com originating in Colombia. This data was then given to the cybercrimes unit, and they were able to track the owner of the email account in Colombia. And guess who they find? Just guess. Remember I told you all that Latorre was a systems tech, right? So it was very difficult for them to track him because he left very little in terms of cyber footprint. His knowledge of computers helped him get away with such horrible crimes for so long. Latorre would encrypt the data he sent to Faria, and he used different internet cafes. This was to ensure that it couldn't be traced back to the same place and then to him if the authorities ever found out. It took months for the cybercrime department to be able to connect the various links between the different IP addresses. In Faria's communications with Latorre, he referred to Latorre as the big bad wolf, and it gets scarier. It gets really scarier now. Latorre was the one committing these crimes, right? but he had Mexican sponsors, and Faria was one of them. So somewhere in Mexico, there were like men. They were paying for Latorre. They were paying for Latorre to keep making this kind of content. Latorre would frequent places that kids visited often, like malls, and take pictures of these poor kids and forward them to his Mexican friends. The Mexicans would then select the child that they wanted for their content, and they would agree on a price between $100 to $400. Latorre would then lure these kids, who were usually between the ages of 8 to 14, to a hotel where he would sexually abuse them, take pictures of them naked, make videos of them naked, and then make videos of himself sexually assaulting these children and send to his Mexican sponsors. As the authorities got deeper into the email conversations between Faria and Latorre, it got sicker. In one particular exchange, they discussed how they made sure their victims couldn't speak up about the terrible things they had done to them. Latorre would use weapons to threaten the lives of his victims and also to threaten to harm their loved ones if they ever dared to speak up. Faria, on the other hand, would beat up his victims so bad that they would be too afraid to speak up. Latorre committed these crimes alone. Yes, he had accomplices, the Mexican sponsors, but they were not with him when he was committing the crimes, and this made it really hard for the authorities to find anyone to turn to testify against him. The only witnesses were his victims, and they were too scared and too traumatized to talk. Finally, Latorre was tracked down, and the authorities could not believe what they found. There were 1,450 files of horrific crimes Latorre had committed against minors between 2008 to 2011 alone. In these 1,450 files, 276 abused minors were perfectly documented and videotaped. In the years that followed, further investigations revealed that the number of Latorre's victims could be well over 500. At some point before his arrest, Latorre fled to Venezuela, and there he pretended to be a Venezuelan national and went by the name of Danilo Santiago Luna, and it is believed that there he committed even more crimes against minors. Finally, in 2018, the Colombian authorities were able to trace him to Venezuela and contacted the Venezuelan police via Interpol and informed them of the crimes of their supposed national, Danilo Santiago Luna. He was then extradited from Venezuela to Colombia and was made to pay for his crimes. Juan Carlos Sánchez Latorre was finally sentenced to 60 years of imprisonment after pleading guilty to the sexual assault of 276 minors. And that brings us to the end of today's case. This case is actually the first ever case I made for my channel, and it's bringing back a lot of memories, me redoing it. I put the other one on private because I was just being, I don't know, overly criticizing myself, everything, the lighting, oh, the way you did this, the way you did that. So let's hope I actually like this one, or actually think this one is okay enough, I guess. Anyway, today's case is a very difficult one. There's not much information about this case online. And you know the funny thing, when I was doing it then, I was like, oh, this is a lot of information. How am I going to get this into my head? Because I was just starting, but now I'm like, okay, there's not a lot of information to work with. And I did more research, and I saw, okay, there was no additional info to add. So yeah, but today's case is heartbreaking. It has a lot of victims, a lot of minors. It just makes it a lot difficult to deal with, I guess. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Like and subscribe if you haven't done that already. And I'll see you for the next one.